What's up, everybody?
What's up?
Oh, man, it's good to be back.
What's up? What's up? My marriage is dope.
My marriage is dope. Yes.
It's back.
It's back.
A long hiatus for very good reasons, right?
Yes. We
very good reasons.
We've been working and planning and had serious death and just things. Life.
How you doing, man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I really am feeling good. I'm excited about us starting our podcast back. So many people have been wanting us to get back on the lives. I've been wanting to, you've been wanting to, and here we are. So I'm excited.
So let's allow me to introduce myself. My name is Shannon.
Oh.
Man, I'm Shannon Austin, one half of so many different things. Marriage Inc., the $1 Million Marriage Club.
My marriage is dope.
Layers, One Voice, Mountaintop Ministries.
Oh, and we've landed here. This is where we have landed.
We've landed. And I'm here with my better half and co-host, Miss Coach Shirley Austin.
Yes.
I'll make sure I put the Perry in there from here on out.
I appreciate it.
Because you earned that.
Oh, I earned the Perry?
You earned the Perry.
Okay.
Mamie,
I definitely earned the
Mamie
Austin.
and Bud, you definitely earned the Austin. right. But Mamie and Bud did a good job with you.
Praise God.
Did an amazing job with you.
Awesome.
And I'm so glad that they prepared you.
Yes.
Did they prepare you for me? Do you feel like you were prepared for, all things, what Shannon is, what your husband is, being a wife?
Mm-hmm. Some aspects of it, yes, and some no. Right? The service aspect, the caretaking aspect,
Mm-hmm.
I have disrespected you, but certain aspects of disrespect you've never received from me. Like, I don't cuss you out. I don't call you out your name.
Yeah, you don't talk crazy.
I don't talk crazy to you. I don't holler and yell at you.
Not that would serve you, but...
It wouldn't. Right? But so, yeah, some aspects, absolutely. And some, not so much. And it's not even that they didn't.
Yeah.
It's just that, like, I don't think parents are really being intentional about talking to their children about the depthness of marriage. It's more surface stuff.
Well, especially in our generation, it was not an intentional conversation at all.
Right.
My parents didn't say anything to me about marriage, about being a parent, about any of that. They just didn't give me that information.
Yep.
And I would have wanted it.
Yeah.
It would have been valuable. Sure enough, would have been valuable.
What's something that you wish they would have given you?
I wish they would have helped me understand time.
What about time?
How much time you need? How much, like, the investment of time in out of the 24 hours I have in a day, right? Mm-hmm. How much time is devoted to being a husband and a father, right? In some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. Providing, nurturing, cleaning, taking out the trash, back and forth to sports, school events, homework. Mm-hmm. I don't remember my parents sitting down doing homework with me. Mm-hmm. They just asked me, did I do my homework? Mm-hmm. And more often than not, I didn't. But, so it's this, and we're going to talk about that a little bit, like, before we get into these questions. Mm-hmm. Like, so we got two areas for you guys. We're just going to talk about just marriage and some serious aspects, lighthearted aspects of marriage. And then we're going to dive into, man, we have been would you say we've been inundated? Is that fair?
Oh, yes. We have been, though. Like, even before we put the posts out there are so many people contacting us with challenges. Mm-hmm. They want answers.
Serious challenges.
People need help. They don't have the solution.
Why is that? You got all these counselors, you got all these pastors, you got all of these folks out here. The wedding industry is booming, right? They doing fine getting married, but the staying married part or the being married part,
Yes.
they're not getting no real help with. And a part of that's their problem. Part of that's your, I want to be pointing my finger at you, audience, but a part of that is your problem. You have to be intentional about creating an environment, surrounding yourself with people who are invested in your marriage. Don't put nobody, you don't talk to nobody about your marriage. That's like taboo.
But and that's what I think about when you were just talking about time. Time literally is our greatest asset. How are we spending our time? Like when we think about being taught about marriage, nobody is telling us how you spend your time, who you spend your time with. When you're talking about your spouse, like that's time, right? So I've spent time talking about you in a negative way, which helped to cause my behavior to be negative, right? Like these little things that seem little, but over time, it just builds up.
Over time.
Everything that we do, as it pertains to time, it needs to be, he's doing his thing, I'm doing my thing, but those things should all come and merge.
Yes.
We have to be in alignment with one another. And a lot of times people think an alignment, we have to be doing the same thing, right?
Yes.
Because we should be in alignment spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, right? So physically, for example, being in alignment physically doesn't mean if you work out 5 days a week, I have to work out 5 days a week. It simply means whatever we do, we must be on the same page, reaching the goal that we have set for our marriage.
Right. So we've set a goal for health and fitness, and we should be doing whatever we should be doing, either individually or collectively, to keep marching towards that goal.
Right. Like Shannon had cancer twice and congestive heart failure, right? That was just life. But then we learned with the congestive heart failure, how you eat helped for that issue to compound. So what did you do?
I changed my diet.
You changed your diet because you didn't want to have your wife pushing you around in a wheelchair at 50-something years old.
Because that's where I was headed.
You understand? That's like, what are we doing with our time? Is our time helping to build our marriage or to tear our marriage down?
Right.
Yeah, so
that time, there's a huge push in the corporate world for time management. But how does that? It's like all bets are off when you're off the clock. You don't have to manage your time. You just got to juggle your time. When you're with your family, your family gets that space from you. That is what the world has left over for you. And more often than not, like I tell people all the time, man, you got to take time off. I was talking to a principal. Remember when I went down to see, speak for Des, right? And I was talking to the assistant principal. She had like hundreds of sick days. And she had hundreds not hundreds. She had, in the high tens, like 60, 70 vacation days.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, why are you're giving this time? Why aren't you taking any personal time, any days off? Why aren't you doing that? And
that's why intentionality is so important. A lot of times we allow other people to dictate our time for us. Or I'm not saying that this is her issue, but I've seen a lot of people like that. They don't want to take off. They have a savior mentality. Like the job it's not going to go on without me. And guess what? You dropped it.
I told her, babe, I told her, listen, what you was going to say, if you drop dead, this what they're going to keep on. They're going to cry a little bit. They're going to shed a little tear.
Yep.
They're going to have a little memorial service, and then they're going to move right on. They're going to move right on.
That's it.
And so So we give all this time to everything else, and then now there are times where you got to put your head down and run. You just got to hustle. But then after that, what's left? What's left?
Right.
And so,
like, we can look throughout our marriage and see how time has served us and how it has not served us. How what we did with the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so, you know, it's not difficult for you to be able to sit back and take inventory. And that's what we encourage you to do. We encourage you to take inventory of, how am I spending my time? When I'm with my family members and my friends and my coworkers, what's coming out of my mouth, especially about my spouse, right? When I'm going places, am I spending more time with other people than I am my spouse? And I'm nurturing other households, but I'm not nurturing my household to that level, to that degree, right? You have to take inventory. And in order for things to change, you have to be honest, right? And let me tell you something. A lot of times when we ask couples questions, they'll say, I don't know.
You always know.
You always know. If nobody knows, you know.
You know.
The thing is, you don't like the answer, and so you try to avoid it. Sit down, ask the question, answer honestly, and when you answer honestly, if your heart really wants things to change, then do something about that answer. Change that answer.
Yeah, man, that's good. That's good. That's good. But actually, the time management piece, can you imagine us, what kind of jobs and careers we would have if we approach time with our careers, with our jobs, with our businesses? You got these entrepreneurs out there hustling. You got all of this stuff happening. What would they, if they approach their families, their marriages, with the same concept of time management and time approach, the value of the time that they spend in that, they wouldn't be successful.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be successful at all. You got folks working. Oh, remember we was on Hardly Initiated. Shout out to Tyshawn and Ryan, who had us on. It was a great time. Right? I was talking about, remember I told, the story about the bike. And all that. Now imagine me giving you 16 hours for 10 days straight. What our relationship would have looked like then.
Or, right, the principle of the bike, y'all don't know, but Shannon, we were staying at his mom's house and his sister in Philly when we first got married. And we were only supposed to be there 6 months, right? And Shannon was a nurse at the time, which he hated, nursing. And so there have been times, oh my gosh, Shannon would go to work and then like an hour later, he'd be home. I'm like, what are you doing home? And Shannon, he'd walk on the floor and if he's like, nope, I'm not feeling it. This Negro literally would leave. Literally, right? We're living in somebody else's house. So he ended up purchasing a bike that was like $3,000-$4,000. Ish. Right? And so I'm sitting here like, you really purchased a bike and me and your 2 children are here with your mother. So if you had to put that time towards getting us out the house, I wouldn't have mind you working that hard.
Right.
Because that was for our family.
I feel like that's still inside you right now. I feel like you
know what I'm saying? But no, yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, no, this concept and idea of time, it is where your time goes and your money goes. That's where your energy is going to flow in that direction.
And that's what's going to grow.
Your best intentions are going to go in that direction, and that is it should grow, right? Because you got some people that are spending a whole lot of time, but they're not really growing because they're lacking in so many different other areas. But no, that's good. Yeah, that's good. So I need to do a better job. Like now, I'm in this real kind of hustle space. To help grow our platform and help to get this word out there. We need certain things and we need certain, tools and things of that nature. And somebody got to make that money, right?
But we're in alignment, though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're working towards a purpose. It's not just to get money.
Let me tell you this. So I was out of town for work, and let me tell you.
Tell me, boo.
Girl, I came home. This house was looking and smelling so good.
So funny.
Oh my goodness. It was just, one, you know what that does for me, a clean home, happy home. And you're a great manager of our home. And man, it just felt good that you thought that much of me and enough of me to want to, when I came home, you was looking good.
And my little share thingy. Had candles on in the bedroom.
Come on now. Now, I wasn't going to say all that. I was
had
just
the
saying.
Heart listen, we got to do this for each other, though.
Right.
We have to do this for each other, not just a woman to a man. We have to do this for each other, a man to a woman.
Well, you did it for me, and I want to let you know I appreciate it.
Then I massaged him, right? Because his job, he's on his feet all the time, every day. So
the Bible says, racked with pain.
Racked with pain, and so
and
I was dog tired, but man,
she definitely.
I wouldn't want to spend my time any other way than to make you feel good.
Shout out to Shirley Perry also.
Which goes into a question that we have.
Okay.
So
let's start helping the people.
Y'all ready? So here is a question.
Now, mind you, so here is the deal. These questions that we get, I don't know the questions. I don't want to know the questions.
Right. I only know them.
Shirley knows the questions. And so it helps me to be able to give an authentic answer. I don't want to I'm that kind of person. I don't want to think. I want to give what they call an extemporaneous answer. And so, you know, when you guys send, and we've been getting, so thank you all for answering the call for questions. Some of you were asking for help before there was any call for questions, but now you all we're asking you all for questions, and you are giving us questions, so which is great. So we're going to get to, it's not a rapid fire situation. We want to talk about stuff. So over time, we got enough questions. We could do podcasts for, a half of a year and have no problem at this point in time. So keep sending them, and we'll get to them as we get to them. So,
and it's anonymous, right? So we're not calling out any names or anything. So this question: how do I handle a husband that won't defend me in the moment, but confirms later on that how a person spoke to me or treated me was not okay?
Oh my goodness. You want to answer that, or do you want me to answer that?
We both. Go ahead. What's your take?
No. You know my take, because we experienced this.
Talk about it.
You remember?
Talk about it.
Well, we weren't married then, but we definitely, I'm a hugger. Always been a hugger. And when I got to the city where I met Shirley, we were going to the same church. And I was just, I'm a hugger. I hug men, women, like this, all this, you know how men, we come in with the handshake, we get a pound, and then we put the elbow out. I was like, come on, bro. Like, we brothers in Christ. Let's embrace each other and just, whatever, right? So there were some of the members and folks in leadership that basically started a rumor that I was gay. Like, what's he doing hugging so many people? Like, why is he hugging? Right? And so, you're right. And so there was one particular person that was spreading the rumor, and Shirley had wind of it and knew something about it, but she didn't say anything. And I was hizzy hot. And what we were in choir rehearsal, and what we did was we went, got the person, I got the person, I got Shirley. We went outside and we talked. I'm like, okay, now what's this? I'm gay? Because if there's anything I'm not, no, nothing wrong with, the LGBTQ plus community. But the last thing, I'm gay. Now, if they would have accused me of sleeping around with butt naked women, that might have been something that I had to admit to at the time. But this wasn't that time. And so the thing that I did was I confronted the issue. And I did it in a way that held Shirley accountable, which made her, I think that might have been your first foray into really who I was. Because you were like, this dude is this what we doing now? Right? And so I think that these are issues that have to be confronted head on. You have to have these conversations. And if oh my goodness, you hate it when I throw you under the bus. That's the epitome of throwing somebody under the bus.
Yeah.
It is unacceptable. It demonstrates a lack of loyalty, and it has to be spoken to directly.
And you're right. But when you can't control the other person, right? Because she says, how does she handle her husband?
Right.
Right? Well, you can't handle him. The only thing you can do is tell him how it makes you feel. That's it. Literally. And I wish we had a magic wand for these questions. That it would be like, oh, and it would change something. That's why in the work that we do, we help people to understand that the focus is you, because you are the only person that you can control. That's it. You can't control your spouse. But what you can and what you should do is you should express, hey, this is how I'm feeling.
Yes.
Right? And so what's going on with you that you don't have enough courage to stand up for me? Have the tough conversation. And listen, a man, I don't know, he may avoid that type of conversation because you don't want to. The reality is he doesn't have the courage.
He doesn't have the courage.
Right. But to say that to a man, he will buck against that. His ego and pride won't even allow himself, 9 times out of 10, most men.
What she has to do is reverse that. She has to not, she can't say, you don't have the courage to blah, 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 blah. She has to talk about how it feels. I feel so hurt and abandoned and what have you. I feel like I'm not protected in this way and in other ways. When you allow someone to say something crazy about me and you don't defend me.
Can she say, I feel like you don't have the courage to defend me? Would that be okay?
Yeah. Or I would say...
Because that's the truth.
I would say it scares me that you do not appear to have the courage.
Babe. Yep.
It frightens me. Yep. Because if you don't have the courage for this,
come on.
Then what if we have a home invasion?
That's
what if we have a this? What if I'm literally in danger? And what are you going to do? Are you going to abandon me? Or are you going to stick up for me? And
this issue actually speaks to a deeper issue. How are you viewing, why are you allowing what other people think to dictate how you treat me and how you move? And then if it's family, so now are you putting family over us? You know what I'm saying? It's so many questions now that I want to ask.
But here's a little twist to that. I'm not defending you if you do something wrong. If you are blatantly wrong, I'm not defending you. I'm going to speak truth. I'm not going to throw gasoline on the fire. But if I do something wrong and it's like, if you do something wrong, I don't expect you to stick up for me if I'm wrong. And now my family, like EE is asking, well, why did you do this? Or why did he do that? And I actually did those things. Then you should be expected to stand in the truth. Not your truth, not my truth, but the truth. And you can still be supportive in that space. When you say? Or is it difficult to still be supportive?
I don't know. It's kind of difficult for me, right? But I want to operate from a principle standpoint, right? So what you're saying is accurate, but I also believe that it also depends on who I'm dealing with, because I'm not going to allow anybody to, whatever you do, I'm not going to allow anybody to just talk crazy to you. And right. So even if you do something wrong, to a degree, I am going to defend you. I just don't believe in throwing people I love under the bus. Right. Listen, how I grew up is like, I'm going to whoop your tail, but I'm not going to whoop your tail in front of them people. But we are going to talk about it. When we get home, it's on and popping.
So
I'm going to fight your battle for you, but when we get home, I'm beating your tail.
So what if fighting the battle compromises your character? What if you have to lie? What if they like, well, Shirley, he shot that man. What you gonna say? Well, he had a good reason to shoot that man.
He had a good reason to shoot the man. Shoot.
Oh, you're getting thrown under the bus, Doc. I'm like, baby,
Listen,
why did you shoot him?
Yo, he will. He will.
Why are you shooting?
This is the throw under the bus king.
When did you get a gun? Is my question.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, my jaw, I'm like, this one right here.
The taps under the table, the elbows. I get the elbows in my side.
Okay.
All of that.
Here's a question, babe.
All right, shoot it.
I want you to think about this one before you answer it, Doc.
Okay, well, that's what I do. I try my best.
Can you have a happy marriage without sex?
No.
Thank you. Okay. Whew. Well, I thought you was about to say yes.
No, you
No,
can't. You can't have a happy marriage without a sexless marriage. Is not a happy marriage, especially if one of the people want to have sex.
Right.
Now, if you all both want to be celibate, why would you want to do that? But if you both want to exist in a sexless situation and you both feel the exact same way, then you're equally yoked. And
right.
yes, you
and
will
yes,
be absolutely.
But this is so the one spouse, she wants to have sex and he does not.
No, she don't. It's so many questions I have.
Wow, this speaks to another question that we have. So I'm just going to combine it. Somebody else says, what do you do when it's the man who doesn't desire to have sex? Right? So what do you do when one spouse desires it, but the other one does not?
So really, there's a depth to that we don't know, right? So does the man's organs, his dick don't work? He's impotent.
It says desire, so that means he probably can.
So then the question then becomes not why does he want to have sex,
but
why does he want to have sex with you? That's the question. That's the quintessential question.
Right, because if everything functions well, now it's not a functioning problem.
No, it's not physiological at all. It's emotional. It's emotional. It could be physical. You might not be attractive to him anymore. You might have let yourself go, or what he used to like, because people change. I used to be, I used to love certain body parts, and now I got an affinity to other body parts of yours. And it's like, well, that's new, that's different. Now let's say that you didn't allow me those opportunities. Then that might turn me off a little bit. I'm trying to be politically correct. I'm trying not to. I'm editing myself like, don't say that, don't say that, don't say that. But you know what I'm saying? So to me, it leads me to believe that something emotionally is going on that now makes you unattractive. It could be something as simple as your breath stinks. Teeth, hygiene. That just is just like, or if you keep a nasty house. And or if a man feels, talking about the husband here, right? If the man feels unappreciated or in times, because we get to these different points. It seems like women get to a point with their evolution, age-wise, where they become much more sexual. I guess when there's no more fear of having children and all of that. Y'all seem to open up. And if a man has not stayed in shape, it might be his diet. It might be. Remember, there was a long time that the way I was eating, that I wasn't really that motivated necessarily for sex. I would complain sometimes if we weren't having it, but I wasn't as motivated. And then when I went on that juice fast, you was like, wait a minute now, what's going on?
Right.
I wanted it and stuff was working real good and all of that. And it was like, oh, well, this has changed. So
it's so interesting, right? Because men are driven. One of the things men seem to be driven by is sex. But at the same time, he can turn that thing off when he is being hurt emotionally. Like, don't think for a second that a man wants sex just because he just wants sex. He just wants to bust a nut. It is so much deeper than that. It is an emotional connection for him, just like it is for a woman. Right? And so when we talk crazy to our man and, disrespecting him and just making him feel less than, listen, sometimes he just don't want to touch us. He's like, I'm good. Listen, I knew somebody who was literally willing to sleep in a car, then go back to his comfortable home. I mean, we know multiple examples of people who are literally willing to be uncomfortable before they go into that house. Like, this is real, how we are damaging the people that we say we love.
And
with our mouth, with our actions.
So I want to say this, and you've heard me say this. Men are equally as have the equal amount of emotions that a woman has. If you believe in the Bible and creation and all that, you were made from me. So you have things that, you have your own unique design, but then you have attributes of me. And a part of those shared attributes is emotions. Now, men aren't as emotional as women, but we share the same emotions.
Outwardly emotional?
Outwardly emotional.
Okay.
Right? And then, so what we do is one of the avenues that we process our emotions with is through sex. Like it is after a man busts a nut. We wrote about that in the book, right? In Husband. It's that pre-nut phase. Like after the nut, that's when you know who you got as a man. If he pulls you to him, if you got a man that busts a nut, ejaculates, for those who need that terminology. If you have a man that ejaculates and he still want to argue, something's wrong. If he still got the energy to sit there and argue you down, you got a problem on your hands.
Right.
Huge problem on your hands. And that is because there is an emotional disconnection that is present and it's not being managed well.
Yep. Good thing, babe. Next question. So we were on Hardly Initiated, and a lot of singles are on there. And so we were talking about not having sex before marriage. And so one of the young ladies sent us this message. While a personal decision to wait until marriage before sex is my goal, if you slip off, can you still wait? It's the first part of the question. And the second part is, how would your partner feel if this was communicated to him that you want to wait? Even though we engaged, I want to wait. So
what's that mean if you slip off? If you
want to wait and then you end up having sex, can you still? Yes. So the answer is yes.
Yeah, you can always make a decision.
Start all over again. It's just listen, just like working out. You right? You say,
right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to work out, and then you sleep
fall
in
off the
next
wagon,
2 days.
Get back on the wagon.
You get back on, right? So yes, absolutely you can. And listen, once you do it though, it will be a challenge for your partner. Now, what will he say? We don't know what he will say. But we do know 9 times out of 10, he will feel a certain way.
Especially if the box is good.
Especially if the box is good, right? And you've been talking about
if you're a good lover.
Right. And that's why it's so important to just keep your legs closed. Listen, I know it's difficult.
It's difficult.
It is. Listen, we didn't do it. We're not trying to sit here in front like we did not do it.
We will not front and treat y'all and let y'all know that we just. It was difficult. Like that first time, it was like, are we doing something? Are we not doing something?
But what
like we were trying to do but not do.
Right. But what helps to make it difficult for the single people listen to this? From the door, you cannot put yourself in certain positions. You can't put yourself in any compromising positions, period. We meeting up late at night, coming to the crib. I'm telling you.
Well, it is.
Like y'all playing base head games with yourself.
Yeah.
Like, for real. You know what it is.
You know what's going down at that time of night.
You just want to act like you're not the one who pushed the button, right? You want to be passive aggressive about it.
That's some passive aggressive stuff.
Right, it wasn't me.
Stop! What you doing? You know we can't do.
Yeah, right. For real. Come on.
Right.
Been there, done that.
You knew.
Listen, is your life.
That is nothing but a base head game.
It's a base head game.
That's just crackheads. Just playing ourselves and putting ourselves in compromising positions. And why are you doing that to yourself?
Yeah.
So it's not especially if you grew up as a Christian, you felt like, why don't they want me to have fun? Mm-hmm. That's what you felt like. Right. Why don't you want me to have fun?
Listen.
And why does God why are there all these rules that say what you can and cannot do, right?
Right.
But now we understand that those rules are in place for a reason.
God was trying to help us, y'all.
He was trying to help us.
Oh my gosh.
And we raged against it.
We did.
Right?
We did.
If we would have, I don't know, maybe if we didn't have sex, we probably wouldn't be together.
You think? Why?
Well, I mean, because we would have had more clarity of thought. And if we didn't have sex and the same dysfunction was in place, we might have made different choices. We may have made different choices.
That is true.
If the same dysfunction was in place.
That is 100% true. That's 100% true.
You know, because the box, that thing makes you think different, man. It makes you second guess. It had me doing crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Right? You know them crazy. You know me driving from work, checking on you and all that. I'm on my dinner break, and I'm thinking. My mind is thinking and wondering and what have you. And we ain't had no cell phones then, so I would drive. I would drive from work. I was working at a hospital. And all I was doing was driving by her house. I didn't stop. I didn't whatever. But as long as I saw just her car in the parking lot, I felt fine. And I would go back and try to go through a drive-through and get me something real quick and get on back to work.
Sometimes you would feel the roof of the car.
Well, yeah, well.
You told me that.
Yeah, well, just to make sure you haven't been moving too much.
You would feel the hood of the car.
If you just getting in and it's 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's crazy.
It's 3 o'clock, it's 1 o'clock. I've been known to be a little crazy. I've been known.
So to answer this young lady's question, yes, you can start all over. And will a person feel some kind of way? Yes, they probably will. But you're making this decision for you. This is what you want to do. And if they don't respect it, that tells you what you are coming up against in the future. Mm-hmm. You understand? Like, that's a red flag. No matter how hard the decision is for them, they should not try to push you, try to make you feel guilty because you already did it, you already crossed over. None of that. As hard as it is, like this is self-control. Right? Are they displaying self-control about their feelings and their emotions about something that you've said that they don't like? Mm-hmm. And however they express themselves in that moment, that's going to tell you how they're going to express themselves in the future. Mm-hmm.
So keep your legs closed, ladies, guys. You know, how you hard on management, I don't know. How do you handle a hard dick? You take cold showers, you stay, none of the, especially for a man, I don't know about for a woman, but especially for a man, all the stuff they tell us to do, it don't work.
Listen, I was listening to Tim Ross. Y'all know Tim Ross, he has wonderful podcast. When you horny and you put on your gospel music or you put on a sermon, that he said that thing goes real quick.
No, that's for him. He's saying for him.
Your penis is going to stay hard when Jesus is all up in the atmosphere like that.
Jesus, be a fan.
No, whatever.
All around me every day.
All right. Next question. Oh, that's what I wanted. I wanted to read.
Don't you do it?
Oh, okay.
No.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let me read this one. If you have a man who does all of his job and then some, he takes the pressure off of you. Should he expect certain, if you have a man who does all of his job and then some, and he takes the pressure off of you, should he expect these things? The cook, wash, dishes, clothes, all of that stuff. If you're both hustling, then you share the responsibilities. But if you're not, what should you expect from your wife?
Well, this answer is I would have answered this question differently 2 months ago, right? Mm-hmm. So now that I understand that what a helpmeet is, it's totally changed my opinion about this. So no, you shouldn't expect, right? Because the Bible says when God created woman, he said it's not good for man be alone, so I will make him a helpmeet or a helper, right? Well, I used to think, hey, I need help doing this. Will you help me? Right? So will you cook me dinner? Will you do this? You're there to be my helper. But the translation of that word helper is more like a strong coach, a strong encourager, one that is like, you got this, get up. Hey, you're good. Let's go. You get it done. It is our responsibility. And what happens is we become acutely aware of the response from a Christian standpoint, from the response of our part in sin. The Bible tells us that we are supposed to sweat the brow. We are supposed to work hard. Now, hopefully you married someone who cares about you and loves you. And if you ask them to, there's no traditional roles really spoken about in the Bible. There's nothing about a woman should clean, we get certain things from, like we can extrapolate from the Proverbs 31 woman, how a woman should be, but there's really no hard, fast rule that says she has to do anything except be there and love you and be a strong encourager to you, a strong coach. She's not there to wash your clothes, but we've taken on that Western kind of mindset. And, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. But hopefully I'll use you as an example. With me out here now, because we can basically live because of my disability, right? But I go out now here recently in the past, however many months, have been going out and working so that we could do more. You have been Johnny on the spot. Food when I want it. Clothes when I want it. Because you have decided that you see the value in me working so hard. You appreciate that. And so now this is your response to me. But that's not your job.
Right. Okay. So, right. I'm with you because, honey, I was like, right. But see, the law of reciprocity is real. And to have a healthy relationship, there is a give and give. So to have the expectations, no, but to have the conversations, what is our marriage going to look like?
Mm-hmm.
How are we both going to add value? This is what teamwork is.
Right.
So you should not be out here hustling and grinding and you working and working. And I'm at home
chilling.
And I'm not taking care of the house, which is the cooking, the cleaning, the washing, the clothes, all of that. Mm-hmm. That is highly problematic.
Now, what happens if you keep an immaculate house, but you don't really cook? You don't do some of those other things.
That is highly problematic. You should never have to worry about how you're going to eat when you out working. You just should not. That should not be a concern of yours.
Well, these newfangled women these days,
You should not have to worry about, babe, can you put this in the washer for me? And I have an attitude about it. Mm-hmm. Why did I get married? No, I didn't get married to wash clothes, to clean, no, that's not why I got married. That's simply a part of marriage, though. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you understand? I have to accept it all. Mm-hmm. Right? I don't know. It's just weird to me how women do not want to take care of their man, whatever that is. And listen, y'all, I have a man who will cook, who will clean, who will wash clothes. Right. You understand? Like,
I could take care of myself.
Like, even though we have the modern and we have the traditional, we are more traditional. But Shannon, hands down, especially before he had his the cancer and all of that, Shannon was cooking. When the boys were young, Shannon cooked most of the time. That wasn't me. Mm-hmm. When we were dating, Shannon did all the cooking. Like, he is the one who, like, really, really, like, opened my eyes to different foods and different restaurants and things of that nature. Like, Shannon was cooking, Shannon cleaning, Shannon take care of his own clothes. All of that, right? But when we come together as one, now we need to have the conversation. What is our household? What does that look like?
That's right. See, here is the thing. We are not being intentional about having conversations.
Instead, we're having expectations
and assumptions, right? So, and we look at what traditionally was done, maybe our parents or grandparents. We develop that fantasy in our minds, and then we want to play that fantasy out in our relationship. Right. And that's not the time to be playing out.
Right.
That's not that time.
Your wife is not your mother. Your husband is not your father. Create something that works for the two of you in your household. Take all of, because listen, my mother definitely taught me how to serve and take care of a man. And although that is important, there were some things that were just way more important for Shannon. Mm-hmm. I was so focused on, I have to serve my man. I have to serve my man. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great job at it. But our relationship was lacking because the thing that you wanted from me, I wasn't as focused on that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right? So I'm bringing what I saw over there over here. No. Mm-hmm. We're creating over here. Right. And that's what you should do when two people come together. You create here.
Yes.
Leave all that. Start as if you don't even know that there's such thing as the sex and the cooking and the cleaning and the man going out to work. What are we going to do?
Right. And oftentimes even not off of the topic of a man providing and what a woman should do, that this, like those pre-conversations, so sexually, what we do is we just take what we did in the last relationship we were in, or a culmination of the relationships that we were in, unfortunately, and we will then say, this is how I will approach my life partner as a lover. And it might be totally off. It might be
so. You don't have sex before marriage.
But you don't have sex before marriage, but you also, when you are moving in the direction of marriage via engagement, courting, serious courting and engagement, you have the conversations. If you are aware, maybe if you're two virgins, then you're really discovering and figuring it out, right? But if you're not two virgins, then you have to have the conversations. And not them preliminary, you like to eat coochie, you like to, not that, but just really and we're going to talk about this on, in an upcoming episode, really, really dive into what is going on sexually, because our sexual differences, we've discovered way deep in our marriage how we both approach sex and
it was a
sexual
light bulb
intimacy.
moment too.
And ain't nobody having them conversations.
Nobody having these conversations.
Nobody is having those conversations.
Yep.
And we got to start having them.
Yeah.
We got to start having them. Yep. What you got? What else you got?
What do you do when you and your spouse are not on the best terms and one spouse wants to go to marriage counseling and the other just makes excuses? Like just pray. We don't need counseling.
Well, that's probably, more often than not, that's probably somebody of the African American ilk. Because we do not like no counseling. We won't go. We don't want to go. We don't think we need it. We think all we need to do is go to church and think real positively and real hard, and things will magically, right? Things will magically.
We're afraid, right? We want to keep up the persona that everything's good over here,
right?
And that's really like, I think that's really the root of it. We've been told, oh no, don't let people into your business, and we really live that out loud in our community. Way out loud. And it is killing us. It's just killing us. It's killing our relationships. And, so interesting. If you have a leak in your house, you're calling somebody. Right?
Oh,
if something's wrong with your car, you're calling somebody. And that says, so are those material things more important than your marriage? Right? If you can't fix your engine, why is it okay to call somebody? But if you can't fix your marriage,
you're not saying when the engine goes out, you're not saying let's just pray about it.
Listen.
You're going to see a mechanic.
Prayer has
You might even go see a shade tree mechanic, but you're going to go see a mechanic.
Right? And not to discount prayer. Everything we do, it is the foundation is biblical. But God gave us one another for a reason. God gifted people with the gift of helping with mental illness and emotional health and all of that for a reason. You understand? And so you can't make everything else more important than the one thing that God himself sanctified. The Sabbath and marriage.
Both are very necessary.
Both are very necessary.
So
So what do you do?
What do you mean? What do you do?
The question was, what do you do when your spouse will not go to counseling?
That you have to pray about. Because what did my dad used to say? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You can't make another grown, sovereign human being do something that they don't feel like doing, right? But what you can do is you can try your best to communicate the importance of it. And look, there is this fear, especially with men, there is a fear that if you go to counseling, the counselor is going to be more on the man's side, on the female side than on the man's side. That is one of the reasons why couples avoid, men especially, avoid counseling like the plague, because they feel like you already going to say it's my fault. We're going to go to this female counselor. They going to say it's my fault. And so I don't want to just be the one that's at fault because I don't feel it's all my fault. And it is not all your fault. It's not your fault. It is your responsibility, though, to lead and bring leadership if you have a dysfunctional team. Your team has to be, that is an indication of you as a leader, your manhood, your approach to all things leading your family. And if there is dysfunction, if there is a problem going on in the family, you have to be the one to take the lead and to make sure that you get that problem fixed.
And one of the things you could do, right? Get with another couple, right? And that's why we always believe you should have your peers but you should also have your mentees and your mentors. So get with either peers or a mentor couple that you have that truly believe in marriage and that you guys can, the healing and growth and all the restoration that can take place, and go out to dinner, right? And have conversation, right? Whenever we go out with couples, we always end up talking about marriage,
talk. Yeah.
right? And so when he sees another man who has gone to counseling and who has done the work and who's vulnerable to his wife and understands what submission and leadership is and those things and things of that nature, maybe it will plant a seed in him.
Yes.
Right? So put yourself in the environment, right? So even if directly he will not go get help, indirectly put yourself in the environment with another healthy couple and see, if that will help spark conversation between the two of you, like, maybe we should go, or maybe, and listen, you could say to him too, listen, we could go to a meal. Right? A lot of times, because of what you said, men automatically think that they are going to get thrown under the bus. Or you could say, Shannon and I are, that's what our couples love about us, is because you get one of each. Right? And so sometimes I'll take the husband aside, and husband and I will talk, and Shannon will take the wife aside, right? To get it, so she could get a husband's perspective, and he could get a wife's perspective. And then, the four of us do our coaching.
But we know respect as a person.
Oh,
if
we are definitely none, zero.
If somebody's wrong,
you're wrong.
You're
I don't
wrong.
care. I'm not pro-woman.
I'm pro-marriage. I'm pro-marriage. I'm not pro-husband.
Period.
Pro-marriage.
I'm pro-marriage. I am pro-woman, but I'm pro-marriage first.
Yeah, she is.
And foremost.
Definitely focusing on the marriage and what's best for the marriage.
Yeah.
And if you jacking up as it relates to the marriage, then we're going to tell you.
Yeah, you get into business.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe
but it's out of love.
Business.
It's to help you. It's to help you see different perspectives, help you to see your spouse's perspective. A lot of times we out here demonizing our spouse, and it's just because we don't have a true understanding of their heart. Right? And that is because we're not even asking the right questions. We're just hearing what they're saying, we're responding, period. Right? And so a lot of you don't even understand how to ask there's a way to ask questions. There are certain questions to ask to get the most out of your spouse. That's a whole nother segment. But man, this is good, babe.
Very good. Listen, guys, we want you to share what you've heard today here. And just, there's actual, real, raw, relevant conversation going on around the topic of marriage. This is the thing that wakes us up in the morning. Like marriage enrichment is, and God has placed it on our hearts to bear our souls, like to tell all our business, right? So that your marriage and the marriages in your community can be enriched. And so, and
listen, we have your husband, your book back there, husband.
Yeah, so we have a couple of resources for you that are going to help you in that process. Some years ago, we collaboratively wrote a book called Husband, and it really helps to outline some stuff that just is not traditionally talked about in manhood, and as it relates to marriages and being the husband that a wife wants. Not only she wants, but she needs, but she wants. And then the queen over here has just finished and made available one of her titles. She got a couple of manuscripts that are in development right now. But Wife You, the ABCs of winning his heart.
Y'all go cop that.
That link is going to be made available. It is in the chat, and it is also going to be made available in the description below. Listen, we want you to make sure that you are subscribed. Please, you guys. We don't know much about this YouTube stuff, right? But evidently subscription has something to do with how the videos are shown and get seen to people. And so from a long form perspective, this video, we want this video to do well, and the subsequent videos, and then of course the podcast This will be made available soon on all podcast platforms, relevant platforms. And our goal is simply to make your marriage as dope as we believe that ours is. And it's not just a catchy title. Mm-hmm. My marriage is dope. Mm-hmm. It's not just on our merchandise. Mm-hmm. It is something that we believe is very true, but it's dope because we work really, really hard at it. Yes. And we've paid some dues.
And it doesn't mean that we're void of issues and challenges, right? I'm always clear and very intentional about letting people know that we do not do this work because we're like, oh, we made it. We do this work, number one, we were called to it. This is the work that God gave us. And so we're being obedient. But we have done the work to be here, right? And so we get on each other's last doggone nerve, right? We get irritated and frustrated with each other. We simply know how to operate when we're in that space now, so that it doesn't become something unhealthy and continue to disconnect us, right? That's the work. And that's what we want to share with you guys, teach you guys, show you guys, help you guys in order for your marriage to be dope. It doesn't mean that you're going to arrive somewhere. It simply means that you know how to maneuver now. You know how to maneuver so that you don't cause more damage.
All right, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Listen, we had some hardly initiated family on here. Thank you so much. Love to you guys. Thank you for joining. And we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time, which will be next Saturday. Same bat time, same bat channel. All right?
Deuces.
Peace.